Good evening, gentle listener, and welcome to Distractible. This episode, waxing Wade knows his pedals, bemoans his baldness, and lauds his subreddit champions and Vegeta. Masochistic Mark explains Raid is confused by the junk in his trunk and yearns to be tortured to prove his stones. Begetting Bob gives a proud papa update, and proposes revolutions in firearm construction. From bowels of energy to dildo devastation. Yes. It's time for bullshit. Now sit back and prepare to be distracted and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Distractible. I'm today's host, Wade. Everything's fine. I'm joined as always by my co-host Mark and Bob. Hey guys.
Oh hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Oh, and you?
Also,
Mark?
Did you guys agree on a bit or something? Or is this...
oh, Mark.
Disappear for like 3 days, come back and we're the weird ones? Okay.
I was gone for more than 3 days, but...
Oh, well.
What in God's... You know what, TV? Off with you. If you're not watching the video, you'll have no idea what's happening, but my TV's off now.
This has the most mysterious energy of any episode intro I've ever...
It ties into the end of the previous episode. No, it doesn't. There's one in between those. It's all ruined.
I have no idea what the previous episodes were. Per usual, I have forgotten everything that's happened in the past. But I do know that the now is the future, because the future is now. By that, what I'm trying to say is that what I mean is small talk time. Talk, please.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
James walks now. I think I've mentioned before.
I was like, who is that? It's your baby. I know, I've met.
We have a baby. His name is James. You definitely met him a few times. He walks now. He doesn't walk more than 4 or 5 steps at a time, but counts as walking. And it's terrifying. He also climbed up the stairs. He did not walk up the stairs, but he climbed up the stairs with a person behind him, making sure he didn't fall and die. But he did it by himself for the first time. Everything's in peril, and all the childproofing we've done is pointless.
I have a friend who has a baby. Not that you're not my friend. I have another friend who has a baby.
No, I see where you're coming from. Tell us about your real friends.
He brought her over. Watching a small baby child thing fly up the stairs at like supersonic speeds is actually terrifying.
All right, pause.
Baby climb. Baby climb.
No, hold on. Let's pause for a second.
Okay.
How fast?
Upstairs. I can walk and skip a step. I can run and skip like 2 steps. And that baby's gone up and down 3 times in the amount of time it takes me to do the stairs. I might be slightly exaggerating.
Does this baby also, like, climb up walls?
No, listen. He's describing a totally real phenomenon. It's not that the baby is fast compared to you or I, but the baby is that fast relative to how long their limbs are and how they move otherwise. Because a baby will sit there, right? And they're just like sitting on the floor and they're like, ooh, playing with a toy. And you're kind of like, oh, that's cute. But when they decide they're going somewhere, they zoom off at light speed. They go from like barely able to sit up, like, whoop, to like, okay, I'm going to crawl over there. And you're like, whoa, God, shit.
And they have never-ending, I was going to say bowels of energy, but that's not the right word. Bounds of energy?
I like bowels of energy. That captures the vibe of a baby.
And like the way babies grow into humans is like, you never know what part's going to grow. So as they're running, like one arm becomes like adult size, then they're crawling, and the other one springs up. And then the next thing you know, there's just an adult sitting on top of the stairs looking down at you.
That's not.
Can I pause?
That's
yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm not backing that part of what he's saying.
Come on, man.
So these babies go through rapid progression, but it's limb-based. And do they revert back to a baby-sized limb afterwards?
Yeah, they get bigger and smaller at random. Baby thing.
So it's like their limb is loading in and it's just like just to see what the scale's like.
Sarah Williams tried to tell us.
Let's not talk about her.
Yeah, I'm unpause, I guess.
All right, good one, Bob. Points.
Yeah, I think Wade was either describing a demon or an escaped what are those things called? SCP?
I thought you say convict.
And I don't think convicts do that either, Wade. I have some concerns about what kind of people you hang out with.
Ohioans.
Well, weed was just legalized over there.
Woo!
I won't be participating in the weed. It's just not my thing. But I heard that it takes like 30 days, I guess, for it to actually be like legal, even though it was legalized.
Yeah, that's how elections and stuff work. The moment the polls close, they do not take effect. There's usually some kind of lead time.
So as of the recording time of this,
I think he's trying to say it's probably not legal yet to actually consume it recreationally, but I got really lost there.
Yeah.
Mark, tell us about hard drives or something, please, God.
Yeah. So there was a post on the subreddit.
Oh, it's a joke. You don't have to talk about hard drives. We can talk about anything you want.
No, I've got someone to ream, and you know how I feel about reaming someone.
I know how a lot of people feel about being reamed by you too, so let's hear it.
I feel really good about the reamage.
Mark Wahlberg in The Reamening.
No, I wanted to point out something about, like, someone questioned because I had that hard drive failure, right? And it was in a RAID array, right?
Oh yeah, the post where they're like, "Does you even has known what hard drive RAID is?" That one?
So it just said, did Mark get scammed on the subject of RAID? Okay, and for those who don't know, RAID stands for Redundant Array of Independent Disks, right? Okay.
Got it.
And that probably means a lot less now to people that didn't know what it meant in the first place. But there was a misnomer here that I wanted to address for all the tech people out there. This post was saying that RAID 0 is bad, okay? And the idea of RAID 0, what it means is that if you have multiple hard drives, you can stripe data across the hard drive. So basically, when you're saving a file or you're downloading something, it writes to your hard drive a bunch of ones and zeros. If you have 4, let's say, in RAID 0, it'll go 0 on the first drive, 1 on the next, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1 across all of them, and it'll just loop like that. It can write faster, basically. So you turn a bunch of disks into a faster, larger disks. The only problem is if one dies, the whole thing's gone.
Because you've lost an arbitrary 1/4 of your data.
Is that what my RAID setup is? It might be.
I can't believe you operate anything with a RAID setup. That's a terrible idea for a man who doesn't know how to plug a thing into another thing.
You should see what happens when I get like a new computer and have to figure out how to find it again. We're talking a day-long excursion.
So how badly did you get scammed, Mark? That's the real question.
Oh, incredibly scammed. I got the visual of Wade just like swimming through unopened boxes in his basement, just like, I know that computer's here somewhere. Clunk-a-thunk-a-thunk.
I've been washing. Oh.
Hey, I see there's still a stripe of white at the bottom of your shot.
Yeah, I promised Dana before we recorded podcasting and I would have that covered up. I lied.
I like the stripe. I don't think it should be covered. I think it's fun.
I told people that and they especially thought I should cover it after you liked it.
Oh, what did I do to anybody?
There's nothing wrong with your taste. It's just everyone disagrees with it.
There's nothing wrong with you liking something. You're just wrong to like it, Mark.
Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out.
Like the wrong thing all you want.
Okay, so the thing is, what I would like to say is that it's a misnomer that RAID 0 is bad. RAID 0 has a purpose, right? So RAID 0 is to speed up access to that data, and you never put on anything in a RAID 0 array that you don't want to lose. One thing that people need to understand is RAID is not a backup. RAID is just a system of organizing multiple disks for different purposes. There's RAID 0, there's RAID 1, there's RAID 5, 6, 5 plus 0, 6 plus 0, RAID 10.
There's RAID Shadow Legends.
And that's a segue into today's sponsor. You can use code no, we don't. But the post was saying RAID 0 is bad, RAID 10 is good, and also cheaper. It's not. RAID 0 is fast, but yes, you could lose anything if a drive fails. But here's the thing people need to understand. Drives fail no matter what. Drives will fail. They always will fail. They can fail. And it's like you need to accept that about any kind of computer. Your computer, just one drive can fail. If you think about it, having one drive is just having a RAID 0 of one drive. If you think about it, it could fail at any time.
So stop being poor like Paris Hilton tried to tell you and have multiple drives. The truth was out there years ago. Remember when she stood with her Stop Being Poor shirt? She was telling you.
Right. And I think that succinctly concludes what I'm trying to get at here is you dumbasses out there, if you can't afford to blow the kind of cash I can on stupid crap, it's not getting scammed if you're rich because you could have afforded to lose it. And that's the point I'm trying to make.
This is why wealthy people go and lose thousands and thousands of dollars in Vegas for tax purposes.
Right. Raid 0 is not bad. It has a purpose. Raid 10 is not cheaper because it requires twice as many discs. Because if you have 10, you only use 5 of them in terms of the amount of space, but the other 5 are a redundancy for the first 5.
Because if you have 10, then that's twice as many as 5, which costs at least thrice as much.
That's how it all works out. That's what I have to say about that. I wasn't scammed yet.
But he's open to one.
I'm looking for a scam if anyone wants to offer.
Any of you chumps got some scams? What are we doing here?
I don't know. You asked me to talk about hard drives, so I did.
My mom tried to call me while we were discussing here. I texted her. I said, I'm recording podcast at the moment. And she said, just wanted to say hi. Did Mark buy the moon? Mars next. Need Distractible tour. Smiley face. And I just wanted to share that with you all. So Mark, have you bought the moon? And if you have, is Mars next?
Well, if I did buy the moon, I don't think I would make that public knowledge.
You're not saying that you would laser etch a huge Markiplier M into the moon if you bought it?
Yo, you think all these poor people can go steal it from you? They can't get to the moon. They can't even get Raid Zeros.
Their spaceships can't even break low Earth orbit.
All I'm saying is just wait for the next moon cycle to reveal it, because as we're recording it, it's waning, and when it waxes, just you wait. Just you wait.
I don't even know what waxing the moon is, but I'm picturing something naughty.
How do you know so much and also nothing ever? I'm so baffled by the type of knowledge that you have and don't have. Look, so I want to address you directly, subreddit. Every time we're mean to Wade, and even sometimes when we're not that mean to Wade, you're like, oh, they're so hard on him. Wade's the smartest one in the group. Wade's all philosophical and deep. The other guy's just like dick jokes. You're not wrong. But also, can we acknowledge that sometimes Wade doesn't know things that are shockingly common knowledge, even though he knows very specific and detailed and in-depth things about philosophy, law, whatever. Like, I'm not even saying I don't have gaps. I'm just saying, I think it's fair to make fun of him sometimes, and not knowing what a waxing moon is feels like one of those times.
My knowledge is like a heartbeat. It's forever going, and occasionally it spikes where there's knowledge, then there's some down periods, and there's some knowledge. I know a little about a lot, and I know nothing about a lot. But I do want to put myself on a bit of a pedestal here, and you guys might not think this is a big deal, and I don't either. It's honestly more of an insult to some of our friends. Ryan, with 2 N's, you are off the hook. I blasted you on this podcast a long time ago, and now you're free. Patrick Static, JPW03, and Into in the Pack. I recorded with you recently, and I brought up the fact that there were bipedal beings. And all 3 were like, what's bipedal mean? That word is like pancake to me. It's like everyone knows what a pancake is. Everyone knows what bipedal means.
Did you pronounce it correctly before you mocked them?
I've heard bipedal. I've heard it pronounced both ways.
Yeah, it's bipedal, right? Or is it bipedal?
I've heard it pronounced both ways. I don't know.
I'm not going to die on that hill. I don't know.
Point being is I know the word, and I know it means walks on 2 legs. They acted like I had pulled out a thesaurus and found like the most random word ever used. I thought that was taught in like 4th grade science class.
I want to see a poll of the masses. On the subreddit, I want to see a post. Is bipedal, or waxing, the moon waxing, more common knowledge?
Let's just do 2 polls. How many people know what bipedal or bipedal is?
Why is it 2 polls? Why is that better?
I want to know, because I want to know how many people know what each one is versus just know which one knows more of which.
Let's do 3 polls. One of them is who's hotter, excluding Mark. One of them is bipedal or waxing, and then one of them is how many people know about the pedals.
I gotta say, Mark, you've been getting ripped for your, the flower is, whatever the fuck you said about the legs and the flower on couch.
The flower is receiving of the leg. Yeah, no.
The leg side is receiving of the flower. And your distal, like, checker is distal.
I want to say, when I said that out loud, I didn't intend to say that.
You didn't intend to sound like an actual psychopath?
No, but as it came out of my mouth, I'm like, wow, I gotta own this, because they wouldn't believe that I wouldn't have said this normally. So I did not mean to say that, and I understand that was horrifyingly confusing, but you just kind of gotta keep going at some point.
I honestly, you know what? I guess it makes me feel a little scared for my own sanity. The more you screamed that at us, and we're talking about, for anyone who hasn't seen it, we're talking about a video that was posted on YouTube where we played a game together where you build furniture. Calyx. The more you screamed that at us, the more I felt like I was right on the verge of understanding exactly what you meant. There was a moment right before the game ended and we lost where you were like, the lakeside is receiving of the flower, and I was like, and I picked something up and I was just like, ugh, that's the way he means.
How do you know which way the line is on the leg? Flower up, line down is so easy.
Yeah,
you see the flower, the line is down.
We just didn't see the brilliance of Mark's ways. It's not Mark's fault that we're too slow to keep up with his intellect.
See, now that Bob has realized the wisdom, I was actually pretending that I didn't know what I meant because I felt like you guys would be bad. Like,
shut the fuck up. Minus 10 points to both of you.
Oh, take more, Daddy. Take my points.
The point side is receiving on the me.
Hey, I went to the doctor today. Mm-hmm. I'm 6'5", Wade. That makes me the tallest on the podcast. I've been lying about my height to make you feel better.
I was told I was 6'3" and like 349 pounds, but then like they realized something was wrong. They're like, oh, hold on, let me move this around.
349 pounds?
Dude, I thought I had gained 110 pounds.
Listen, I know you got a big ass, but you do not weigh almost as much as I do.
Hey, there's no one more shocked than me when the first reading came.
What did they move to get the measurements different?
Oh, let me get this other human off the scale. My bad. We tried to weigh two of you at once, but that's not how this works.
They forgot that I was backpacking with a Bengals linebacker on me whenever I stood there. I don't know, but there's nothing scarier than being like, yeah, I think I'm gonna try like eating a little bit less, like exercising a bit more. I want to get like 20 or 30 pounds down, and then like, or 130 pounds down. Maybe I need to. I've really let myself go in the last 2 weeks. What were we talking about before this? I had a thing. Leg side, Calyx.
The Mark side is receiving of the points.
You were letting people off the hook for something. I don't know.
Oh, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan, you're free. The other three of you, bipedal.
Subreddit, do some amount of polls and we'll look at the answers next time or whatever.
Polls only. From now on, you can only submit posts as polls.
All the polls are just answer. Option 1 is the post they wanted to make and option 2 is blank. God damn it. Wait, can you post images in polls? Because that would really cut down on the repeat memes, that's for sure.
I don't think so, but who knows? Try it.
Also, ever since the conspiracy episode, people think that we are in and of ourselves a conspiracy. I forget what they keep calling us, the Great Distraction or something.
That doesn't look like much of anything to me.
Well, they do seem to think you're the ringleader, so it makes sense that you would deny it.
The Great Distraction?
I might have the name wrong. I'm trying to find it. Project Distraction Conspiracy Archive is one of them. Project Distraction is what they think it is, where we are involved in a conspiracy of our own, and our podcast is just meant to distract from our nefarious goals and objectives.
Oh, when the truth comes out, there's no reason to deny it, I guess. You caught us.
All right, well, that's all that we have as far as that goes. Congratulations, guys. You both have negative 10 points. If you couldn't tell by the way this episode has started or been rolling on, this episode is the bullshit episode where we don't know what's happening because I, your disorganized host, came in today feeling like, I'll make them do something.
So you're saying it's weird part 4?
I still am haunted by my attempts to make
I don't know why that makes you so sad. All right, subreddit. I'm talking to you a lot today. I want to talk to you again, subreddit. There's been a lot of chatter, and especially in the last, I think it was the last episode you hosted, Wade. It was the King of the Hill, King of Horror Hill episode, where I pulled up the Ginger Dead Man, and then we talked about Robert Rubber, and there's a lot of chatter on the subreddit about Mark and I not engaging with your topics when you come with an interesting topic. And I just want to say, a lot of the time, we directly engage with whatever Wade's topic is, including during the King of the Hill episode.
That was all on point, yeah.
He had a slot on the wheel for each of us.
I did.
To bring our own character in, and we talked earnestly and openly about who we thought would win. We just thought the derisiveness of the Ginger Dead Man was a very compelling attribute, and that also he was a very interesting and hard to defeat type of foe. No one came up with the idea of just eating him because he's a cookie. Probably wouldn't taste good.
It might have come up.
Anyway, I just want to say, we engage with Wade's topics. Things don't always go to plan. I know Wade gets sad, but I think that's unfair. I think we did exactly what we always do, and I think we had a good time.
I'm sad about weird. I'm not sad about the Ginger Dead Man. The Ginger Dead Man and your rubbers, those were on point.
I don't know if you remember well enough. What made you so sad about weird? Because I feel like we pretty much engaged with that as well.
It's hard to say because I have a terrible memory and I'm also a bit of a drama queen.
Okay, well, there it is. You heard it here first, chat.
Chat.
You heard it here first, subreddit chat. There, fixed it.
Comments, esteemed guests. I've been known to be a bit dramatic from time to time because I like attention and it gets me attention. But I thought Ginger Dead Man and the Rubber, as much as I banged my head against the wall during that, they were horror movie villains. You guys had the choice to bring them in, and you did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was up to you to argue and debate who would win, and you guys did that. So I will have to say, for that episode, you guys were on point the whole time.
Is this episode like us on trial defending ourselves?
It might be.
You got me looking at the subreddit, and it really just there were a couple big threads where people were like, they don't even try and engage with Wade topics. They just try and make Wade sad. They're so mean. And I was like, man, we couldn't have done any more horror King of the Hill if we tried. I felt like that was a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys find the posts like that, and I find the posts that say Wade's looking balder than ever. Like, why don't I see the Wade pity post? It's like, I only get the post where it's like, are Mark and Bob using some kind of like preserve their age skin cream, whereas Wade's rotting before our eyes? Like, those are the posts I find.
I just don't know, how do you look balder than ever?
Apparently I took off my headphones and they were like, my God, it's like a baby, but an old one.
Oh, there's not even hair behind the headphones. I thought he was hiding the backside ponytail from us.
No ponytail.
He's balder than ever.
No secret ear ponytail. I'm bald.
Do you think you could grow like?
Did you know how thick the hair is back here? Yes, I could. Yeah.
Just let that go down.
You should do that for Halloween next year. At some point in the next coming year, start growing that out until it's like just a shoulder blade length ponytail. That would be fantastic. I don't know how you hide that, actually. You couldn't keep it anywhere. It would just exist. But
flip my head during a jump scare and people see the wave of hair flop in the wind.
No. You got to start wearing a bald cap from here on out. So, and then eventually your bald cap is just going to start expanding with the amount of hair that you have to hide under it. And then the summer could be like, he's looking balder than ever. And they'll be right.
I swear there's a post that just zooms in on my face where my forehead already looks like it's expanding. And I can only imagine if my head started slowly expanding episode from episode. Subreddit, I guess you're on trial today or something. I don't know what this episode just bullshit.
Yeah, no, we were just talking about subreddit, and I just felt like I needed to vindicate Mark and I, because we do give you a hard time, but I don't want people talking shit when we play along completely. When we do what we're told and be good little boys and do your ideas. I want credit. Subreddit.
So what is the idea, though?
Yeah, so what idea can we totally ignore and talk shit about today? How can we tear you down, host?
Okay, well, here's the things we probably shouldn't talk about that I had written. You guys want to read my notes for this episode?
Uh-huh.
Things we just don't know how to do. Highlights of our careers. So if we ignore those completely, then we've ignored what I had written down for this episode. The other line I had was bullshit, where I put a star instead of an I, because I didn't want to curse it myself, apparently.
Okay. Keeping it clean. I appreciate that. There are children in this house.
It started off strong. It was like highlights of our careers. Let's talk about some of the best moments from like things that we remember, like either where things took off or just really funny or I don't know, just moments that stand out to us over the last 10 or so years. Then I was like, what about just things we don't know how to do that we wish we knew how to do, like stuff around the house, stuff with cars, whatever. And then my brain was just like, vanilla pudding. And I was like, well, all right, bullshit it is. Cool, because I'm done. Brain gave up.
Well, I don't know which one to ignore.
Boobs large, head empty.
I'm gonna ignore by talking around the things we don't know how to do one. So
great.
Tell me if I'm alone in this. I don't think I am. Do you guys ever see like a project or something come up in your life and like you've never done it before, but also you're just vehemently confident that you absolutely could do it? So our house that we're in right now, we have like crappy water pressure in some of the faucets, and it's probably because there's just like buildup in the faucet because the water where we live is kind of hard and we don't have a water softener in the house. And so to fix that, probably just replace the faucet fixture, right? I've never done that in my entire life. I don't think I have all the tools. You don't need a lot of tools. I don't think I have the tools that I need to even attempt to do it.
To change out a faucet?
Yeah, well, you need like a scraper to break the silicone seal around the faucet. You need possibly some kind of pipe wrench or something to work on the stuff underneath it. Like, I don't know. I could probably make it work with what I got.
I have literally done it several times. I've changed out ceiling fans with light fixtures, kitchen faucets, and bathroom faucets. I've done it.
Only some of those have water in them, but I'll take it.
But electric is I think electric's scarier than water. Like, water sure can do I know what water can do, believe me.
Electric's easy. You just got to make sure the breaker's off, and then what are you going to do?
Yeah, but it can zap you.
Just make sure the breaker's off, start gnawing the wires, just them up and notch bows in there. It's good.
Well, you've only got 2 hands, and sometimes there's like 6 wires. Like, what do you hold it with, you know?
You have your helper go kink the electric wire coming in the side of the house, and that'll stop the flow of electrons. And then you just work real quick on whatever light fixture you're trying to replace.
Look, I appreciate you calling Molly my kinky helper, but holding electric wires is not something that we've done together.
Is this like a way, like overly egotistical, overly confident male trait? Is this just a thing all people do?
No,
because there's tons of stuff where I look at, like,
Let me tell you, hold on. I'm going to spread my legs out and tell you about how to change a faucet.
Hang on, let me shift my massive nuts over to the other side here.
Yeah, hold on.
All right,
there we go.
Mansplain me something.
I'm that guy that while I'm sitting on a plane, I am waiting. I'm itching. I'm itching for the second.
To change a faucet?
Huh? No, this is different thing. Different. Yeah, the plumbing on the plane. I'm just waiting to gnaw through the walls.
I've been waiting to join the Mile High Club for years.
No, I'm waiting for the mythical double pilot heart attack where they both are put out of commission. And I've never flown a plane. I don't play any airplane simulator games. Anytime that we've played Battlefield or something like that where there's pilotable vehicles that go in the air of any kind, I crash it within 2 seconds of taking off. Sometimes I don't even take off before I crash it. But I know with 100% confidence that if I was in that pilot seat, I could land that baby on the airport and everyone would cheer and clap at my incredible skill.
I never want to fly with you. Well, I'm sitting there like, please let nothing go wrong. You're like, I hope that a wing catches fire and that the pilots fly out the windshield so I can show off my heroic brilliance.
It's not okay. I'm not every flight, but I totally have had that daydream on a flight before. It's not we're not wishing any harm to the pilots. I hope that they both get such severe food poisoning that they are totally fine in about 24 hours, but completely incapacitated.
Oh, of course.
And so someone has to step up. And I would absolutely have the confidence to put on the headset, pin a pair of those plastic wings to my chest, and bring that bird home safely. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
I get it. I sit there thinking, man, I hope the pilots mysteriously pass out but are perfectly fine, while the hot stewardess in a bikini comes up and says, "Excuse me, heroic sir, can you please land this plane?" And I go, "Why, yes," as my biceps burst through my button-down shirt, and I walk up there, dick slung over my shoulder, and grab the handles, and without even trying, go, and the plane is landed, and they all applaud, and she jumps into my arms, and then everyone else jumps into my arms, and I walk off into the sunset.
I love the emergency bikinis the stewardesses put on right before the plane
In case pilots are both incapacitated, put this on.
The catastrophic but completely non-lethal partial depressurization that took place sucked off their normal uniform and left them wearing only their emergency backup bikini uniform. Everybody knows it's in there.
And it's not sexist, because the male flight attendants also have emergency bikinis beneath their clothing. Yes, it's true.
And they're also in my arms.
Of course. You got to hold them all while you wrestle the throttle, the staff stick, the yoke with one arm.
Well, it depends. If it's an Airbus, it's actually a joystick off to the side. They don't have a center yoke anymore on the Airbus models.
Do you ever wait for the every month when the yoke waxes? That was a dumb. I tried to build that up to make it funny. It didn't work. You ever just have an idea and you go to execute and then you trip over your own foot?
Never as fantastically as you do, my friend.
Anyway, yeah, so I definitely know.
Because there's a ton of stuff that I have zero clue. Like, I theoretically know, like, how to change the oil in my car. You get the oil out, change the oil filter, put the oil in. But I've never done, and like changing the oil is real easy. I think I could probably get away with that one. But I've never done it. I just have this raw confidence of like, if I had to, yeah, but I'm not gonna. I'll just pay someone to do that and not do it ever because I'm afraid to touch it. But I could.
Did you guys, when whoever taught you how to drive probably told you that you need to like check the oil level, right? Regularly?
Yeah, you pull out the thing, you look at the line, you wipe it off, you put it back in. Yeah. I got you.
For the longest time, I didn't know what that was for, pulling out the thing and looking at it.
You just thought you had to look at it.
So the first for a few years when I was driving, I would go to the gas station. Every time I would go to the gas station, pop the trunk, pull the thing out, look at it, put it back in.
Pop the trunk?
Or sorry, the front.
Oh, okay. Jeez. I was like, what the hell car did you grow up driving?
Pop the front.
He had emergency sticks in the trunk just so he had extra ones to look at. Sometimes the engine gets real hot. You don't want to look at that one, so you got some in the trunk to look at.
Yeah, I know, right? I just start pulling random things out of the trunk, look at them, stuff them back in there. I did not know what I was looking for on the stick because my dad never said specifically. I just saw what it was, so I just like
he just like pulled it out and showed you and was like, and put it back in.
See that? You gotta check that regularly. Schlunk. Yes, sir.
Yep. Thankfully, my grandpa was a mechanic, so I got to learn about how non-computerized cars should be worked on. We actually changed brakes on a car when I was a kid. But whenever I got my car and it had like a computer chip inside of it, and my grandpa didn't know that there was a different way you had to mess with the engine.
Uh-oh.
He tried to help me fix it one time, and boy, oh boy, did we not do that good.
He popped open the frunk and was like, where's the carburetor on this thing?
He was just like, we just had to adjust a few things. And then like, my car was not very happy. It was never really the same afterward. I don't mess with cars either because that was an awful experience. I feel like I could, to go back to your original point though, like, yes, I see things that are done and it's like, considering the things that I've done, that we've done, yeah, I could learn how to do probably about anything. Like, do I have the stable hands to be a surgeon?
I'm curious though. I'm curious to build off of Mark's idea. What's the craziest thing that you have that feeling toward? Clearly the pilot daydream is like, yeah, but that's also like a very fantastical daydream. Like there's no
pick up and do without any training.
But yeah, like there's gotta be stuff every day that you see where you're like, oh, I could do that. I can, like for me, you know what it is? I love big machinery, right? Like backhoes and like big like earth moving. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh, I could hop in there. I could scoop that dirt so fast. I wouldn't spill a drop. Like that sort of thing. What's the craziest one that you've got?
Watching people build my office and then like people repairing drywall and doing stuff like that. Like watching them like measure real quickly and do all this other stuff. I actually watch them do it sometimes and they're so good at it and so fast that I'm like, dude, they're not even trying. Like if they put effort into this, they could make like the perfect masterpiece of leveled effort. But they're like, they measure, they don't even write shit down. They're just like, that's about, all right. That's about, it's like, dude, I could build this a million times better than, like, I'm not gonna, but I could. Just a little bit of effort would be nice to witness, boys. Like, I know we have like a week to get it done and there's a lot to do, but like, you didn't even write down the measurements. Imagine if you were like, oh, rather than just,
I don't think that they're doing it quickly means the measurements are inaccurate. I'm just gonna toss that.
No, I don't either. But like in the moment, my brain, this was the point of your thing. In the moment, my brain's like,
I'm totally with you on that. You know how many times I've looked at a space and been like, oh, what if we walled this area in? I could just tear this drywall down to the stud, double, like sister up a stud there, and then frame in a little wall here, and then, well, I might need to bring in a guy to do the finished drywalling, but I could do the rest of that. Like, how hard is it to frame in a little wall?
Oh, drywalling easy.
Hang a door. I could do that. No, I couldn't. I could not ever. I would make the shittiest wall that's ever been made. I would be like a cartoon. I'd finish and I'd like take my hammer and like shink and stand there all proud, and the wall would just like.
I watched professionals put 10 pounds of mud on my ceiling, and I know I could do better than that.
Wait, I believe that all of your water problems were because after the plumber or whoever was working on it went home, you just stared in the darkness looking at the hole in the ceiling, and you're like, I know they're screwing me. They can't fool me. And then you just like rip into it, just frothing at the mouth. Like, I know they're hiding something from, they're ripping me off.
I looked up at the leak. I saw a bullet-sized hole, and I thought to myself, I know what'll plug you up. And I shot it with a bullet. You can't fool me. I know what goes in that hole.
Yeah, that hole, that's a 357 hole if I ever saw one.
Dude, what an exciting industry that would be. I want a version of plumbing where it's all firearm based. Every different tool is some kind of fired projectile. There's just a guy standing over a bunch of pipes and stuff, and he's just like, ooh, hose, like pipe clamp, like fitting. Let me solder that. Like, oh man, that'd be the most exciting plumbing that ever happened.
Your soldering is just a flamethrower.
Yeah, it's like a backpack flame, like a World War II flamethrower. Like, yeah, absolutely.
This is changes the subject a bit, but this is actually the kind of like thinking I could do something was me before I started doing Let's Plays. You guys didn't see the kind of stuff that I filmed with the full intention of applying incredible visual effects to these various things I filmed. I literally went from watching, say, like Freddie W. or Corridor in the early days. Well, I mean, they do VFX now, but just like watching those videos and being like, yeah, I want to do that. Order a camera, go in my backyard, tell my brother to point it at me and film it. And then he's like, it's really bright. I was like, well, darken it.
Turn that down.
We'll fix it in post.
So eventually, after an hour of pressing buttons on it, you get it to like not be bright. And I'm like, perfect. I knew it. It's all right. Point it at me. I got this. I bought like a toy bow and arrow from, I don't know, Walmart or Meijer or something like that. And I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put an arrow in here, but I'm going to pull back the string and I'm going to go, and then I'm going to add a plasma arrow to shoot and explode in the other side. I went in all day. Me and my brother were going around like my mom's house filming me with this bow and just going, so there's footage of me fully expecting in my head it's gonna look awesome with all these explosions and stuff, but it's just me running around the backyard with this bow and going, whoa, and then letting go.
Do you know the amount of money you could either raise for charity or just sell a DVD of Markiplier's original edited videos for if you'd kept those?
I love that a lot.
It exists. The footage is somewhere. It's on my old computer at my mom's house. I might have showed it on a stream one time, but it is just as cringe. Actually, did I ever post? I think I might have in some random ass video just been like, God, look at this terrible stuff.
I wish we had our idea notebook of our shitty like fart genie and all the horrible ideas we had that we were like, dude, we can make so many.
Do you think that we couldn't just come up with them again because they took that much brain power?
I already thought of a couple. Dildo cannon with the dildo dodgeball. I don't know if you remember dildo dodgeball, but that was the thing that we thought of.
That'd actually be funny. I think that's a good idea.
It would, but we had no way of doing that back then.
That'd be a lot of money spent on Bad Dragon, honestly, is my one note on that one.
Why does it have to be Bad Dragon? There are other dildos.
Generic dildo dodgeball is not funny, but Bad Dragon dildo dodgeball, I think, is very funny. You gotta have a wider variety of things being thrown.
It wasn't even thrown. It was like one side was like guns or cannons launching dildos. And then like you're trying to dodge it, but it was like slow motion caps of like them hitting your face and like the idea was so much more complicated than anything we could have done back in 2012.
That sounds pretty doable. Oh, I could totally do that.
Actually, I don't think we realize how bad it probably would hurt to get hit with a dildo shot at high speed. Given that I got hit in the eye with a pickle and almost went blind, I'm pretty sure a dildo would wreak devastation.
Oh, you think a cannonball dildo would hurt?
I think if anything, Bob's idea of a Bad Dragon dildo would probably be more devastating because I'm pretty sure some of those have spikes on them.
No, those would not be good shapes to be. I was thinking throwing them with your arm like dodgeball, how dodgeball is, because you said dodgeball. Like what you described has nothing to do with dodgeball.
No, cannons.
It'd be a pretty epic death to have like a slow motion camera filming your last goodbye as a dildo with spikes has pierced your heart and you're saying your farewell.
Good, great. Yeah, let's film that.
Epic or confusing?
Wait, do you really not know what Bad Dragon is?
No, do you think I know brands of dildo? Man, I don't know anything.
We've talked about this before. I know we've talked about this with you before.
I'm going to Google this and regret it.
Is it one of those things where, there's people, oh, I don't know what Bad Dragon is, never heard of it, or, oh, how do you know what that is? It's like,
I'm going to their website.
good, go. Share it.
Oh, it's not that crazy. Calm down, Grandma.
I swear, when we were talking about the sex dolls back in the Three Peens days, we definitely have conversed about this.
One of these is literally a werewolf paw.
What?
Any shape you might imagine you would want for sexual toy purposes, they probably have it. That's like the thing.
The 5th row down is something called David's paw. That's just a werewolf paw with claws.
It's been a while since I have browsed.
Oh, are we all gonna get on Bad Dragon now? Is that what's happening?
That's a turtle's head with a long tongue.
Oh, it's so festive.
Oh, it is festive.
Wow, they have sweaters.
Where are you seeing sweat? What page am I on where there's not sweaters?
There's the banner at the very top. The first one is holiday sweaters.
You were so eager, you missed out.
The website I clicked on was /shop, so it went straight to dildos. I'm not at the homepage. I got to skip the homepage. Oh, hey, there's the homepage.
There's a keychain. It's a keychain.
It's when you need to, drag it on the go. Getting back to Bob's point again, I think I could probably figure out how to use one of these. Like, I could be the hero of this story.
You could figure out how to use one of these.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Give me a turtle with a long tongue and a werewolf paw, and I will show you ecstasy.
I didn't see what you were talking about, so I have no idea.
Go to their website /shop.
I don't want to. All right.
Well, then you're not going to see the werewolf paw.
Oh, man, you drive a hard.
This is a sex toy website for anyone out there who's like, oh, maybe I'll search it. It'll be funny. If you don't want to see sex toys, don't go look. But can I just say, some of the names of these are just amazing. There's one that's called Bumble Hooves the Ponycorn.
I see it.
You see the paw?
No, Bumble Hooves the Ponycorn.
No, he says Bumble Hooves the Ponycorn. There's also Jason the Demogorgon. Obviously, Jason.
Oh, God, Cuttlefish of Cthulhu. No, no.
Oh, they've got buttholes.
Yeah, they got buttholes.
And they just have a dragon snout. I think I got a better chance landing a plane than figuring out some of these.
No, this is your moment.
Why do some of these have tubes attached to them? Oh, they're called little squirts. I don't want to know what you put in them. We should move on. Highlights of our career.
That's not the subject. That's not
What was it again?
We're proving the subreddit right. We're proving them right. Wrong?
I don't know, man. This whole episode's a bunch of bullshit.
I don't know. I'm not sure what we were talking about anymore.
Wait, I found Mystic the unicorn. Is that the unicorn? Wait, that's just a foot. What is that?
Do you guys fantasize having a heroic death?
Absolutely not. I think that's a weird thing for people to...
I want to go quietly in my sleep.
Do you fantasize about having a heroic death?
Literally all the time.
Like at any moment, as long as your death is heroic, that's cool? Or do you want to have a heroic death once you're like old and ready for it?
No, anytime. Anytime.
Amy goes to crack an egg and like an egg starts to fall off the counter. Mark's like, if I die for it, I could crack my head on the corner of the counter. But if I save the egg, I'll be the hero.
No, that's dumb. It's me and like a dozen other people were abducted by aliens, right? Mm-hmm. And they've put us on torture racks, right? And they say that if we give up, if all of us surrender, they'll blow up the earth. And so one by one, the dozen other guys, they give up and they die from this horrible torture. But I'm there. I'm holding on for all of humanity. They can torture me all I want. They want...
That's a clip.
Oh, there's a little slip that's gonna come back again and again.
They won't allow. I won't let them get to me. I'll hold on for all of humanity. Sorry, I'm drooling.
Just salivating at the thought of being tortured.
No, I'm saving, and then I die. I die before I give up.
No, I get that. I get that impulse, I guess. I'm not going to say like I've never thought about that. The thing about that sort of death, especially what you're describing where you're like essentially tortured to death.
Yes, exactly.
That really hurts, Mark. Maybe you're just curious to see if your body can handle it.
It's that I know my body can handle it.
But like, I get squeamish when I say someone else like break a bone. I'm pretty sure if I was really tortured by someone who sincerely did not care if I lived or died, and they were just, like that messed up of a situation, I wouldn't hold up to that very well. Pain hurts.
You're one of the others. You're the other ones.
I would do my best. I'm not saying I would like
for humanity.
I'm not saying I would give up immediately, like I wouldn't try, but I'm just saying I think it's easy to underestimate how much pain you can experience and what that'll do to your brain. Like I don't know for sure because I've never really suffered, torture. I don't think it's as fun as you think it might be.
Think of the glory, though.
Yeah, but you'll be dead.
I fractured my wrist and like gotten concussed, and I shouldn't have kept playing, but I finished a basketball game like that, and then like felt like shit afterward. And I was like, okay, adrenaline. Honestly, if I have to go through something horrible, I know I can do something because adrenaline is such a powerful thing that like I know I can weather it. Torture is long form, and I've also had moments where I've tried to like walk into a room and I've stubbed my pinky toe, and I've wanted death to find me immediately because it hurts so fucking bad as my pinky toe of all things is throbbing agonizingly, and I've got like my eyes are watering, and I'm just like, God, if you are real, now is the time to reap me. I am your servant. End my life, for my toe is aching. So like I've had the big injuries where it's been like, oh, like we were moving a table one time, my mom's table, and she had like tile. It was like an outdoor table with tile, and for some reason we were like, we don't need to take the tile out before we move this table down the stairs. Come to find out, whenever one of the pieces of tile falls out and drops down in like the corner of it, hits you in the top of the skull, and your head starts pouring out blood, you can't really drop the table. You got to keep moving. It was like, oh fuck, I'm bleeding. I can't see because there's so much blood. Am I dying? No, you're all right. Okay, let's keep moving the table. I can weather stuff, and I've had the moments where it's like, yeah, dude, I could be a badass. But logically, I'm also like, dude, if I stub my toe, I literally have prayed for death. So if aliens were torturing me, I'd probably give up. Like, I'd like to think I wouldn't, but like logically.
But they're gonna blow up all of Earth.
We'd probably deserve it. Like, I would rationalize that by the end. I'd be like, we had a good run.
Let me just be that guy in the room and just say, you think because you hold out and they get the satisfaction of killing you without you surrendering or whatever, that they're just going to magically be like, we won't blow it all up then. We'll keep our word. Wouldn't want to lie to these humans who we could decimate with the push of one alien button.
Well, that's because it was all a test. It was all actually a test. They weren't actually going to, they were just going to see how tough humans really are. Not only that, but once they reveal that it was a test, they'll resurrect me from the dead, and then I will become the ambassador of Earth as the strongest human to ever exist.
World's strongest man, it's you.
Have you guys watched Dragon Ball Z Abridged, like all of it?
I think so.
Have you seen the Broly movie where they like have the species of creature that are like enslaved, and like the abridged version of it, and they're like working on the new Vegeta or whatever, and then like one of them gets whipped, and then it's like, no, please don't hurt him, he's just a boy, take me. And then the kid's like, get out of the way, Grandpa, it's my turn. And like they're enjoying being whipped.
Oh, I do remember that.
And they're like, oh God, yes, punish me. I really feel like that's you in this alien scenario.
No, that's not it at all.
It's not a pleasure thing. He just gets satisfaction out of knowing he could handle it.
I know that I'm tough and I'm so big and strong.
And maybe a little pleasure.
No pleasure. Nah, it's not about that.
Do we not have a clip where you say they can punish me all that I want?
They can torture me all I want. I don't remember that existing. No, I think if you play it back, you'll see is like they won. I think afterwards. Corrected myself.
Where did this topic start? I was going to try and contribute something from my end, but I can't.
He asked if we fantasize about being the hero.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. No, the hero in a way where I don't want a heroic death. I think everyone has hero fantasies sometimes, probably.
Mine usually involve me not dying. Yeah.
I think if I ever tried to do that, I would absolutely fail and probably make any situation worse than it already is, just because I'm not that guy. But, you have the fantasy. Sure.
Someone gets like thrown out of a plane. You're like, I would jump after them. And I know that whenever I go go to land, I need to roll a certain way. And in practice, it would be like, or in theory, it's like, dude, that would look so cool. I would save their life. I'd be the hero. But like, I picture what would actually happen. And I'd probably land on them, crush them, also die. And somehow like my pants would have gotten slightly pulled down. So my ass is hanging out. And I'm just laying on top of them with us both dead.
You died because you did it wrong. If someone falls out of an airplane, you run to the front, you grab one of the spare chutes, you chase after them, go in a head down, arms back position so that you're more aerodynamic, and you catch up to them in the sky, but then
That's why I should have the emergency bikini on.
You slow yourself enough so that you don't bounce off of them. You hit them and you grab them, and then you pull the chute at the appropriate height, and then you're fine. You don't try and dive roll out of the airplane, you psychopath.
Bob, your thing's outdated. Wade was right. You need to go up to the stewardess, go, I need this, and then rip the bikini off of them, put it on really quickly, then dive. They have actually incorporated all the parachutes into the bikinis. So.
Oh, snap. Okay.
And at first they're like, oh, and then they're like, what a hero, as I dive out and grab them. They all have the same voice.
Meanwhile, everyone else who survived the plane, it actually landed fine, just been like, yeah, this crazy guy, he ran up to the flight attendant, ripped her clothes off, then jumped out of the plane. It was the craziest thing. And then you're remembered forever as that.
The dumbest robbery of all time. I'm gonna rob someone of the clothes they're wearing at 10,000 feet and get away with it.
I don't think it's a robbery when there's a giant hole in the side of the plane, but, you know, opportunistic. People could say really opportunistic.
They have a villain fantasy. You ever want to die tragically as the villain?
I do have that thing where, going back to the suspicious expertise I think I have, I've done that recently when I was doing, like, you know, all the hardware research. And in my infallible nature, I think that if I just look up enough about the subject, I can design my own custom CPU, and I could design my own enclosure to have like a custom controller of all this stuff. I look up like what Mac is doing with ARM, and I'm like, oh man, how hard could it be to just design your own chip? They can say all they want that it takes like no human could ever like understand fully the individual architecture, because there's just billions upon billions of transistors, and they do it based on building blocks of logical units that have been established for years, and they build on that. And I'm like, if I look at it, you know, I bet I can.
You just need a good diagram. You figure it out.
Yeah, I can do that.
It's like putting together a piece of furniture. You just got to look at the parts, and then the
CPU side is receiving of the transistors.
But I mean, this isn't even a joke, because I actually do. Once I get into it, I'm like, if I could just commit a few years to college, I bet I could go back and get a degree in this and have a basic understanding of CPU architecture.
You could at least get 80% of the way there before you give up.
I know, yeah. That's how I am with most of my things. I get about, well, I think it's 80. I get 0.01% there, and then I'm like, I know I'm close to finishing, but
I basically figured that out. I'm gonna give myself credit. I basically did that. It's just a lot of extra time at this point, really.
I do have an idea. Bob, this is an aside, so Mark, you can't listen for a second.
All right.
For Mark's birthday, Bob, I think we get a torture rack, some bad dragon stuff. You and I dress up like aliens, and we give Mark his hero fantasy.
Oh, okay.
All right. Unpause. Mark, you can listen again.
Okay. I just muted my microphone. I don't know why.
Did it work?
Thank you for playing along, Mark. We appreciate that.
But literally, my brain was like, okay, I can't listen. I muted the microphone.
I'm gonna put into this episode, audience, you get what you pay for, and I think we can watch this for free. So I hope you enjoyed bullshit. I guess I gotta pick a winner. Bob.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know if I have a reason. You know what? I do have a reason. You're wearing a Cincinnati shirt. We went to a Bengals game recently together, and it was a good time. The Bengals won.
It was a good time. We watched football man Bo Juro throw a bunch of dime touches.
That's like one of the 5 TikToks I've seen, and you sent it to me, and it lives rent-free in my head. But yeah, Bob, you're a winner. Mark, how do you feel about losing this episode? Is it torturous and painful?
I will be immortalized for all time for the things I said on today's podcast.
You will.
Just not for the reason I want.
Bob, a winner's speech.
It feels good to be the hero sometimes, and I really took a big risk today, and I earned my status as a big hero of the episode, really. I'm just glad I was able to save everybody and you know, I'm just doing my job.
I can't believe you won with negative 10 points, because I think the only time I ever gave points at all in this episode was whenever you both lost them.
You could give me a theoretical amount of points just so that I have some number that sounds better for a winner.
I could, but I won't. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, go follow Markiplier, Bob Meister, I'm Wade Minion777, or Lord Minion777. Stay tuned for the next one where Bob will host, and who knows what will happen. Probably something better than this one, or not. Until then, podcast out.